Hello, everybody. Welcome back and happy Thursday.
All
If you're
right.
new here, I'm your host, Ashley Duell.
And I'm
I'm
the
joined.
co-host, Natasha, and we have a guest.
Yes, we do. We're very excited to welcome Sam Arora with the Arora Group. And if you guys are new here, we have a great episode. You will hear from an experienced CEO on what it was like raising a baby in the government marketplace. So, excited to unpack some of what good advice Sam has to share with us today. And before we continue, as always, you can support us at no cost by liking, subscribing, and sharing. All right, so before we dig in, I think everybody knows who we are. Sam, if you'd love to give the audience an introduction, would love to hear more about you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to actually. My name is Sam Arora. I'm the CEO of a company called the Arora Group. And what we've focused on principally since 1989 has been helping our customers to have the healthcare workforce and support that they need in order to achieve their missions. Principally at the Department of Defense, now Department of War, and Homeland Security is where our efforts have been most focused, but we're really fortunate to get to support not only a variety of agencies, but other partners who are sometimes prime contractors of ours, sometimes subcontractors. So I'm really excited to be with you. And I'm really excited by your intro, which had the legal disclaimer, because as an attorney, or at least trained as an attorney, I'm like, yeah, you got to have that disclaimer, of course. So obviously this podcast focuses on compliance. So I'm really excited to be here.
Very much so. Yes, that is all Ashley. She's very much about making sure that we are correct and correcting us if we are not.
Yes, I definitely things change so rapidly in this industry. So as of today, November 11th, 2025, something that we say may not be necessarily true tomorrow. So I appreciate that. Natasha did laugh at me a little bit when she saw that pop up the first time, but better be safe than sorry.
Always.
Well, Sam, tell me a little bit more about the Arora Group. You guys have been in business since 1989. I'm sure where you are today may or may not have been where you thought you were going to be when you first started, or was that intentional?
Yeah, no, that's great. And I didn't start it when I was 8 years old. I'm the second generation of Auroras now working at the Arora Group. My father started it by accident. He, in the late 1980s, was one of the earliest neuroradiologists in the Washington, D.C. area. And the facility that was then called Bethesda Naval Hospital, the President's Hospital, needed that specialty. So they ended up, my father ended up working for them, moonlighting for them, and they liked his services. Doc, we need more. Send us more docs. Doc, send us some nurses, some MRI techs. And he found himself accidentally starting a government contractor that supplied this facility with healthcare clinicians. And he was very, very good at it, very successful. It grew. And it got quite large, and my mother got involved and helped bring order to it as it was growing, and they had a lot of success, and they did a great job. I came into the picture in 2010 by accident. Also, I was trained as an attorney, and I was a state representative, or we called a state delegate in Maryland, and that's a part-time job. So I started working more and more for my parents' firm, doing compliance, eventually doing more legal work, then doing business development, and finding I really enjoyed it. And not only did I enjoy the work because it's so mission focused, making sure our customers are able to achieve these so important national security missions that they have, but I also loved, I was joking about being a lawyer earlier. I love the compliance because government contracting is so challenging because there are so very many rules. And depending on which space you're in, they can be quite not only tricky, but they can be quite perilous. But I thought it was very fun. It is fun to learn the rules and learn how to thrive in so doing. And I think that's what each of you do when you're not doing this podcast, is you're helping your customers thrive by understanding the rules of the game. I was joking earlier with Ashley that Rob Wong, who's many people will know from his work at SBA and otherwise as a government contracts attorney, he and I have guest taught a class together at Georgetown Law, and he would ask the students, if you're playing Monopoly and you land on what happens? And hands go up, oh, you get $200. No, you get whatever's in the pot. And he goes, wrong. You get nothing. So you got to learn the rules of the game. monopoly in government contracting.
I
They're,
absolutely love that.
they're
That
very synonymous. He did get me with that in the green
that
room.
is good. I would have gotten it too. Like, oh no.
Me too.
I think that's perfect. Honestly, I have to tell you, it is so refreshing to see someone actually enjoy the game of government contracting. And I tell people it is a game because some days you win and some days you lose. But all of it's in good fun. Lessons learned, everything is a win. Depends on how you view it. I love the energy that you bring into it. And how does that play into essentially you building this business that you kind of fell into your lap? And then you come in from kind of a law standpoint, loving the compliance, seeing how all the legalities are with it. But how do you grow? How does someone like you get into it and then decide, I'm going to create this huge business that's growing and succeeding, honestly, by every measure?
Yeah, and I certainly no individual is an island, right? We start with some context, and I had the advantage of a company that had really evolved for years before me, and I came in as part of its next generation, and became CEO just about 4.5 years ago. I think so pivotal to our success has been our team. I have a great team. And they're really great. I mean, you can have business leaders who are great, but without a great team, you can't really scale. You can't deliver and make 1 + 1 = 3, which is what we really try to do for our customers, which I think many great companies try. And so I think I surround myself by really smart and passionate individuals. And another part of it is partnerships. Now, there are a number of companies that just go it alone, and sure, you can do that. But we have found, in addition to trying to be great ourselves, is to surround ourselves with like-minded partners who are passionate about helping our customers meet their missions. And I think those are, while not uniformly recipes to everyone's success, have certainly been important ingredients to ours.
Well said.
That's great advice. We preach that almost every week. However, it's refreshing, I'm sure, for the audience as well. I want to stay on that for a little while longer and unpack that for a moment. Let's talk about what teaming looked like for you back then. Like, what did your first partnership look like in this industry?
So many of the partnerships were forged before I stepped into my roles at the company 15 years ago. But I know that it's looked different throughout our life cycle. When we were quite small, we would partner sometimes with other smalls, but typically with other larger companies to augment our capabilities. And this is so common when small businesses are competing within that protected moat of small business set aside. So often you'll have a larger partner, and it's almost funny to think about that. Oh gosh, way back when that would have happened, but like now we're in that full and open world, and we're having smalls reach out to us and say, "Hey, Arora, can you augment our capabilities for these programs?" And we're happy to find partners we can work with and support well and help them to be successful. We'll be successful. The customer will get what they need. So it's fun. We've also done a lot of partnering through the SBA's Mentor Protege program, originally the 8A and now the All Small. I think this is probably year 23 or something of us participating in various partnerships through that. We've mentored a lot of companies and seen some great success through that, mutually beneficial to the small business partner, to the mentor, to the agency that is able to meet its small business goals and get the type of delivery that larger businesses are able to help deliver.
That's great information. Are there any teaming needs that you happen to be looking for right now for anything on your forecast? We have an audience of small business folks in various socioeconomic categories, various sizes, various capabilities, from anything from ancillary health to physical therapy to physicians. Are there any needs that you might have for 2026 coming up on your radar?
Great question, Ashley. So there are two calibers or two sort of buckets of needs that we maybe don't have at the moment, but we're anticipating. We recently we're very fortunate and won a seat at the table on the Defense Health Agency's large medical staffing and services contract, the MQS2 Next Generation. The Arora Group is in the large business vendor pool, and our small business joint venture is in the small business one. And so while we have very core capabilities for staffing, this contract vehicle, it's really anyone's guess what's going to come to it, because it's not going to be just the staffing. All of that's coming, but now we're seeing more complex clinical solutions like soup to nuts medical coding for a large part of the country. So we're now working with partners who bring in those capabilities. We're told that we might see some other sort of more complex, like telehealth requirements coming on. And so we're learning from being some years ago, a small business that did one thing, to now learning how to integrate a lot of great partners to help deliver for our customers. But I will say, Ashley and Natasha, you each do a lot of great work, particularly with small businesses. And here's a word now from my point of view as to what makes a great sort of introduction or pitch from a small to a large. I'm not speaking for everybody, but in our team, what does not make a great approach is, hey, I am fill in my set aside status or my socioeconomic status. Use me. That's not great. That's can be a value add, and we'll need to fill parts of our small business subcontract plan. Sure, no, but come to those primes with capabilities. Even better, come with opportunities. Because if someone comes and whether they talk to me or my colleague, Daniel Hammer, who runs our partnerships, and they say, hey, I've got an opportunity. We'd love to see if Arora would be a good fit for us. Well, that's a conversation. We see that you have identified what you're good at, what you want to pursue. You've maybe done enough research to see which primes which large businesses might make sense in your program. And that to me shows a lot of forward thinking. And I think some of the great small businesses are really focusing on that.
I love that.
I love that so much.
Your hand out, right? I always tell people, come with purpose, come with value, add first before you ask later.
Yeah. And I'm guessing, Natasha, that the kinds of businesses that come to Ashley for the type of high level coaching and guidance you give, I mean, these are going to be smart individuals. These are going to be people who have been thinking about this, who have their thoughts together. And I think sometimes it's harder or maybe not immediately apparent to everybody to think with the point of view of the person who's on the other side of the Zoom call. And we're all busy, right? We all want to do well at our businesses. So help that person see your value by saying, here's what we do, and here's what we do really well. And whether that is coming in as a subcontractor to them as a prime, or you bringing them onto one of your teams, just understand what they're going to be hearing, what their needs might be.
Well, we try to teach and I like that you brought that up. I think that comes with emotional intelligence.
I have none of that, so I don't know about that.
that is literally what we have to teach people, because everyone is so very focused on the eyes of the world, right? Me. What can I get? How can I benefit? How can I win? And I always tell people that's never going to get you anywhere. It's going to get you like one step ahead, never 3 to 4 to 5. And when we talk about business, when we talk about government contracting, we also talk about playing chess. You want to be 3 to 4 to 5 moves ahead of your competition, of your incumbent, of your teaming partners, of your.
You want to start early. Yeah.
You want to pre-plan the next 5 years. And that is just how this is the long game. This is not immediate gratification. If you want that, go to commercial. So that is what we try to instill in our clients and the people that watch us, is to really think ahead of what do the people on the other side of that email want from you and expect from you and need from you before you think about what you need from them.
And I do. And I agree with that completely, 100%. I do also find it very difficult for a small, let's say a small that has experience. Maybe they've worked on a prime contract before. There's still a disconnect between them being able to relate with what a company the size of the Arora Group actually does need. So there is sort of a level of expectation setting that we do a lot of here, just to make sure that our clients are even ready for those conversations with you.
That makes sense. And I'm going to guess, Ashley, as you're coaching, you might have a particularly small business that's nimble. I suspect you're coaching them. Hey, don't put janitorial services and brain surgery on the same capability statement and send it to everybody. It's just like red flag, waving that red flag,
Since you brought it up, that's funny. Shameless plug. I will be updating the capability statement course on Govology on Friday. And yes, that will absolutely be addressed on at least 5 different slides. Here's what you do instead.
Yeah. We've seen good small, nimble small companies that they have the capabilities to do a lot of those services and just differentiate the collateral, the marketing collateral they use. Great. Great.
Yeah. Segment by, and for the love of everything, if you are targeting defense. Read their strategic plan, understand that agency's mission. It's not going to be the same as if you're, sending staff to an emergency for FEMA. Like, they're two totally different market segments. So yeah, tailoring to who you're speaking to is absolutely an important activity if these smalls want to stand out from the crowd, because I'm sure, Sam, you probably have 100 in your inbox at any given day. Do you?
We do have a lot. We do have, and there's so many new and good companies that are coming into the market all the time. And we try to meet with as many as we can. We just say, tell us about your capabilities. What are you really good at? Because then maybe it's not this deal, but we want to keep you in mind if we can. Occasionally we've had some say, hey, we can help you fill all these roles. We see some jobs on your website. We can fill these roles. And I'm like, great. Here are the basic specs. Find me a candidate in 7 days. And if so, position's yours. And
I love that.
While not every company can be pressure tested that way, I would say that has helped us to see, like, who do we want to keep having those conversations with? And who's realistic. Yeah. And no one wants to call their baby ugly, and no partner should ever ask someone else to call their baby ugly. But as we're talking with companies, transparency is great. It's okay to tell us that you're not good at everything, but here's what you're really good at. And that's great. Because I think that transparency, it engenders trust. And no one wants to do a deal or team with somebody whom they can't trust.
Yes. So well said. I think the government does that too. We talk about what can you do and what can't you do? And though we all like to say and bolster ourselves, and with ChatGPT, everybody says we can do everything. We're easy at everything. We know different. And that's why there is a really good benefit to having mitigation strategy, to having risk mitigation in your plan, and knowing that, hey, listen, what is your retention plan? What is your staffing plan? What if that person doesn't show up tomorrow? What is your plan? And what if you can't staff in 7 days? What does that look like? How are you going to get it done? So I think people fail to realize that agility and having a backup plan and a strategy is so important, and admitting when you can't do X, but I can do Y.
I think so. I think even as we have grown and we're sitting at these tables as a prime contractor in full and open world, it's also just great for us to know that about ourselves. Because when I go and meet with other businesses in the large business space, especially sort of let's say the really mega large ones, the household names, I'm not going to go into them and tell them I do everything under the sun. I say, here's what we're really great at. And here's what we'd be really great at for you, because I understand what your internal rate of return has to be. And here's how I can help you lower some of your costs here. And people appreciate that. I'm not going to sell them the world, but I'll say, here's what I know that it's good for us and we can do. Here's how I think it is good for you. And sometimes they'll be like, it's not. And I'm like, great. And oftentimes they're like, yeah, thanks. That helps me figure out where you might fit into my plan. So I think as we seek to partner, all of us, as we seek to partner with other companies, think about where is our value proposition for that individual company, given what we know about its pain points and its goals.
Absolutely.
That's great advice. And I've had, sometimes it's very reactionary, whereas they see an opportunity. The medical billing gap is a gap in healthcare staffing that keeps coming up. Apparently nobody wants to do that job. So that ends up being, the medical billing partner or the healthcare partner finds a contract. We quickly have to find someone to fill that one piece of work. And then it's very reactionary. My position is, if you know that medical billing is a part of your healthcare staffing contracts, and you've seen that already, develop yourself an ecosystem of trusted, pre-vetted providers. Spend a little time going to those conferences and meeting others that complement your business as well. And Natasha says it all the time. You can't stay behind the computer and expect to grow your business. So I'll say that to you.
Yeah,
I think know.
In 2025, it's certainly true. We got to be out there again, because you got to be meeting people, staying top of mind. And the great thing is the federal government buys so much goods and services. There's so much opportunity out there. And it's important to try to zoom in or focus in on what is it that you can do really well. And realize that, especially if you're starting out and small, teaming can be a great thing. And I remember when we were quite a bit smaller, we were much more focused on getting more of the small business pie. And now as a business in the full and open world, we're like, we can take smaller slices. We're just going to be a part of as many opportunities where we can meaningfully contribute to success as we can. And maybe that's not doing all of it. Maybe it's doing this tranche of it and making that partner, who maybe another day is a competitor, just successful.
Very much so. And are there any new markets, Sam, that you would like to break into that maybe we can help with?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Our focus has really been on sort of talent acquisition, staffing, workforce solutions, and we've done very well in the healthcare space. We're now having partners inviting us to play with them on or support them on some other stuff. We've done administrative. We've done some of the billing now, other things that happen inside of medical facilities, and now we're even finding people reaching out to us about things more IT focused, and we're happy to help where we can. I think we're very open to helping our mission partners succeed or our prime contractors succeed wherever we can.
I love that.
Yes, me too. This has been the year of like the great pivot, and opportunities have come our way too that, weren't necessarily on our radar or something, that we were already providing. And that's what we do in business. We have to stay agile and consider, as long as there's not a showstopper involved, consider that new line of business. The money's there. It's just maybe they're buying it a little bit differently this year than they did last year.
I always tell people, follow the money. Where did it go? It's there. They're always spending it. Don't worry. Where did it go?
Well, maybe not the last couple of weeks, but yeah, your point is well taken. There's this great verse from Proverbs 19 verse 21, which is, many are the plans in the mind of a man, but something like the purpose of the Lord will stand. And the idea being like, we can have all these plans. We can have great plans for how we're going to capture this and we're going to win that. And maybe you will, maybe you won't. I think what's helped me stay grounded in that, and particularly the last 5 years, has been that, try to be faithful in the work you do, try to be honest, try to do good work, knowing that some days will be ebb, some days will be flow. Some days you're going to be the bug, some days you're going to be the windshield. But I think keeping focused on that without like holding on to like, this is the way it's going to have to be is a really helpful way for me to navigate the landscape.
Well said. I think Ashley and I have learned that this past year as well. We used to be very targeted in how we would do things, and this is the way it should look. And now I think we're a lot more fluid.
All right. How's it going?
We might have to, create processes on the fly once in a while, but I have to say it's going pretty well.
It's going really good.
I can automate a process like nobody's business, so we're good there.
All right.
So I think my question to you, because I just often knowing my clients already and the questions they probably ask you, a lot of people that do staff augmentation right now, and it's almost like recruitment's the dirty word in the government, so they try to change it to like human capital, staff augmentation. We try to change the wording, but it's human. At the end of the day, it's bringing in people to support the mission. If we were a small recruiter that has never done federal, has never done SLED, we're small, what would be your advice to them as they start this journey?
So you're talking about a firm that has the capability, but hasn't yet been able to demonstrate it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if I'm in that position, I would find someone whom I could help, potentially a prime contractor whom I could help, and an actual need they have, and show them that I can help deliver on it, and see if I can get a chance that way. I think partnering is the way to go. There are always opportunities to do that sort of thing. And particularly for the larger companies, those are harder to break into, but the larger companies typically have goals that they need to meet with their subcontracting. A certain percentage of the subcontracted dollars go to small businesses or women-owned and so forth. And you can be a double help to them by both, one, having the capability and helping them achieve the goals that they're required to hit.
Love that. Also.
Absolutely. That's pretty consistent with the advice. And I got to say, the biggest challenge that I have seen in a situation like that is the execution. For whatever reason, Sam, they're afraid to reach out to you.
Yes.
What do you tell them there? I mean, you might get a couple no's, but what would your advice be? I'm afraid.
It's almost like any sort of sales or, Or, I think like finding a date. You just got to put yourself out there. You got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, I think, and just be prepared that you're going to get a lot of non-responses. But I think people also will often want to do business with people whom they can trust. So your point, Natasha, about getting out in front of the computer. Yeah. I mean, get out there to the conferences, see who you click with, see who you gel with, because ultimately these transactions are not one time. If you win a contract together, you may be linked arms for 5 to 10 years. And so you want to, you want a little bit of mini marriage sometimes. So you want to be doing business with those people who you get along with. I mean, we've had some great partners who've been our protege firms under the mentor protege program, and some we just like really, really gelled with, and we 10 years on, we're still doing business with them, and because we like them, they're fundamentally good people. And I think you start those relationships with the first meeting, and you can't meet someone unless you're out there trying.
Yes, those targeted events. I push it all day long. If I'll always, and this is my stalker moment here, but I'll find out where you are. And I will show up, and we will set up a meeting and say hi and have a lunch or a conversation. And that moment, that one little moment builds, it's a seed, and you keep following up and you keep engaging. Again, the long term, the long run, having those, how are you, making it a point to remember people and their names and their birthdays. It's the little details that build that relationship. And over time, trust is built. And then, of course, money comes in, and work and doing business together, all the things.
Yeah, when the money starts coming in, it makes all those conference bills a whole lot worth it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's seeing I is one thing, seeing ROI is much better.
Very much so. But to your point, Natasha, I've seen a lot of businesses make the mistake of they'll be attending their first conference. They drop the $750 on the New Orleans ticket, the small business conference ticket, and then they show up. They attend the sessions, but they did no prep. They didn't know who was going to be in the room. They didn't know who was exhibiting. They didn't have a plan. So if I had one takeaway for those of you, because it is definitely going to be the year of getting out from behind your computer. Make a plan. Go and print the itinerary. Go and print the roadmap for the conference or the printout. They usually tell you who's going to be at what booth. Make sure you plot your plan of attack before you go, and make sure to keep that conversation moving. The follow-up is another area that the ROI and sort of in-person attendance seems to drop. Is that also your experience?
Yeah, I think those are very good. I often don't prepare terribly well for conferences until I get there, and I'm like, all right, who's in the room? But you're right. You're ahead of time. You're preparing who you're going to meet with. I would also say, you go to these government conferences or these industry days, and you see these program officers just like swarmed by industry. And I mean, maybe some people get work out of that. I don't find that to be particularly fruitful. I go back to my previous career before I got into government contracting. I had been on the government side, and these civil servants in particular, they've got so much on their desk, so much throughput running across, and so much they're responsible for. And I think it's helpful to know that. So as you're approaching, whether it be a contracting office or a program office, how specifically are you adding value to their life now? To your point earlier, Ashley, like you're not, or maybe Natasha said it, you're not coming out with a handout. That's not adding value. But hey, here's something that your program manager maybe want to know about what's happening in industry. Here's just a white paper. Even if you don't want to talk to me, here's just something that I think will actually add to your understanding of what's out there. So requirements owners can be smarter. Maybe there's value you can add in helping the contracting office develop realistic benchmarks for this next generation. Here's what the cost structures are looking like way before the procurement package is rolling on through and everyone's got their guards up. That
is gold, Sam. And nobody thinks to do that. Nobody thinks. I think we lost Natasha. That's okay. I think she lost service. But that she'll probably pop back in. We'll let her back in. But nobody talks about that. Sort of helping your customer buy from you. Put it that way. That's the easiest way to put it. Although there's a lot of activities that kind of go into doing so. That's not even one that's sort of in my spiel when I speak about this topic at conferences or public speaking events. That's a really good takeaway. Thank you. I might have to use that one.
Well, it's helpful to know, and having seen a glimpse of this on the government side, again, there's just so much work that's expected from them. Um,
Yes.
and oftentimes, like these program offices, they have to deliver these results for their agency, and they don't necessarily know what the latest and greatest is in industry. And with the advent of various sorts of AI just flying into our existence and our utilization, whether that's generative or agentic, government's not necessarily going to know what's at the bleeding edge of industry's capabilities. And it's helpful to educate them. And now they may or may not want to buy it. Sure. But to know what's possible helps our partners on the government side understand what they could be doing or what industry could bring to bear to help them meet their mission.
I have to say that's very excellent points. And I really, really appreciate your spending the time with us today and even unpacking all this. We would certainly love to have you back. But before we go, do you have any last minute tips or any calls to action that you'd recommend for any members of the audience?
Yeah, and it's not the thing I just try to talk with my peers about is, as we seek to lead, to find joy in it, because it's hard. It's hard building a business. The businesses actually you're working with, many of the smaller ones, it's just really hard. And I say fight for joy. Not every day is going to be happy.
Yeah.
And the way I think about it, and I was listening to Arthur C. Brooks talk about this on a HBR podcast. He said the way that the research says to find joy is people, have relationships with people, and remember that things are, what is it? Love people, don't love things, use things, and then find something bigger than yourself that you're rooted in. I think those three things are pivotal for leaders looking to succeed and find joy in that success or in that pursuit of success.
That is great advice. And I think for all businesses, I mean, when things get tough, I even tell my clients in my coaching business, go back to your why.
Ooh, that's so good.
Go back to your basics and go back to your why, because all of this is just noise and it might all be different tomorrow. And to your point, most 99.9% of the time, it's that passion within them that is their why.
That's so good,
And,
Ashley.
and that's what continues to bring them joy. I mean, I know it does for me. It might not be true for everybody, but at least for me, small businesses and that growth and just the development is what brings me joy. So in whatever capacity we're supporting that, I'm super happy. Um, I don't know if Natasha's going to be able to come back, so we will say goodbye for her. Those of you who are in the audience, Sam, if there are any needs, is there a way that folks might be able to contact you through your website or through Mr. Hammer you mentioned earlier, if they do have
Yeah,
maybe something on their plate that would be a fit for Aurora?
certainly. Yeah, on our website, go to our contact page. We look at every submission. We'd be happy to link up.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I do also probably have a few introductions that I might make that might be helpful for you with the information I learned today, if that's all right.
We'd love that, Ashley. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here, Sam. Thank you to your team for letting us steal you for an hour. And thank you to our audience for joining us. We will be back here same time next week, 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. And let us know in the comments if you have any questions, comments. If you like this topic and found it helpful, please share it with someone else it might help. Thank you again, Sam. You guys all take care.